How's it going, guys? Kaleb here with an all-new episode of the Show Me NASCAR Podcast. Just a little bit of a disclaimer. For some reason, my face kind of locked up at the first 9 minutes of the video. Had to figure that out, but we got it fixed. Just wanted to put that out there, but hope you guys enjoy. A little technical difficulty kind of episode, but nonetheless, it's a really good one. So thank you guys. Hope you enjoy it, and have a good one. Guys, Kaleb here. I do not know why I look like that on my screen, but it's frozen. But welcome, guys, to another episode of the Show Me NASCAR Podcast. I am here at Daytona. Harry B. Loomis, my other host. He's at home keeping Missouri contained and whatnot. But man, I am here at the Daytona International Speedway. Just got done with the Daytona 500. Actually, just got done seeing Ricky Stenhouse Jr. do his post-race interview. But man, what a race, what a weekend. This weekend was fun. Let's start off with you, Harry. How was your week, and what did you think of this weekend's activities?
Yeah, good to be here. First off, you're definitely winning the background competition. It's awesome. Good to see the great Santa front stretch behind you. I thought the weekend was great. I saw a little bit of the truck race. Didn't get to see much of the Xfinity race until the end. Got to sit down, watch the full Cup race, and I got to tell you, I've watched since 07. That's up very high up there in terms of best Daytona 500s I've ever seen. Super competitive. It seemed like everyone had a shot to win. You didn't know at any point who was going to win that race, and I really think that's a really good key for a good race when you don't know who's going to win. But man, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. What can you say about him? He kind of flew under the radar. We all know he's a good super speedway driver, but the fact that he was able to pull through, I thought he was in trouble when he got too far ahead coming to the white flag. But man, he did what he needed to do, and got the biggest win of his life. It was a fantastic race in that.
No, yeah, I completely agree. Seeing this in person, seeing this whole weekend in person, even the ARCA race, which we'll get to that here in a little bit, this weekend was fun. I got here Thursday morning, about Thursday afternoon. Didn't sleep the whole entire night, so I stayed up for 36 hours plus that whole day, watching the duels and whatnot. Going to Friday. Friday, you had a lot of practice going on with the Xfinity and ARCA and whatnot. It was such a fun weekend to be here, man. I've been to Daytona before in the summer. Tell you what, though, it's kind of hard to beat February. I mean, the weather is perfect. I mean, right now I'm in a polo, obviously outside. It is perfect. It's not hot like it usually is in July and August. But man, this was such a fun weekend. Let's start things off. But talking about the race, I think today's race was probably one of the best 500s in a long time, at least in the past 6-7 years. We were kind of talking earlier, the Underdogs. They've now won, this is their third straight race, going back to 2021 with McDowell. Last year with Austin Cindric, even though he's in a top contender car, he is a rookie. He's raced at the 500 before, but I would still classify him as an underdog. And then you got Ricky Stenhouse Jr. But I will say, though, it's these guys who win these races, they may not win the rest. They might not win the rest of the season, and they might not pick up another win of the year. But these guys who win these races are one of the best restricted plate racers, or I guess super speedway racers now, since they're not called restricted plates anymore. They're the best at it. I mean, Ricky was up front. It's not like he was only led one lap. He led multiple times during I don't know how many official laps he led. I'll have to look at that here in a little bit, but. Man, it was a great race, like you said. Halfway during the race, I was listening to my scanner at MRN, and they said during the halfway point, I think it was 32 liters is what it was at that time. He said that was the most liters in any of the past 5 Daytona 500s with the whole 200 laps. And I think what accounted to that was because of the fact that it wasn't a crap show at the beginning, and you weren't seeing big wrecks in the middle of the race. It seemed like it was going fast to me. I want to get your thoughts on it, but sitting in the press box up here, man, it seemed like this race blew by. Like, it seemed like the truck race, the Xfinity race, and even the ARCA race yesterday, it seemed like it took forever, but this one just flew by. What are your thoughts on that?
No, absolutely. I'll get to your point about the underdogs in a second, but no, I thought the race was super fast and it made sense. The first stage was caution-free. Second stage, you only saw the wreck with Tyler Reddick, Chase Elliott, and others. But even then, like, I think the cars weren't even going as fast as they have in years past, but it was a clean race. They were side by side, single file, pretty much the entire way. Everyone was kind of minding their P's and Q's, and all of a sudden, I looked up and it's about 4:30, and there was like 50 laps to go already. It definitely caught me by surprise, and it seemed like it was a full it almost felt like there weren't as many laps as there were because we were being through so quickly. It was exciting the whole time. You never know who was going to be leading. There was side by side for the lead probably more often than not. And, a lot of people were complaining about the box brackets. I thought it was what it was. I mean, there were a lot of commercials, don't get me wrong, but they were side by side enough. And aside from the first wreck, I don't really feel like I missed too much. I think you tweeted about Alex Bowman.
Yes.
Yeah, I know you want to talk about that, but for the most part, it's always fine. Mike Joy is fantastic as always. I love Tony's analysis as well. Clint, I thought did a pretty good job too. So I thought that was good. I enjoyed the experience, but talking about the underdogs, it's I tweeted this earlier. There's kind of a couple different types of 500 winners. We've got guys like just off the top of my head that broke through. Kurt Busch finally won a 500. Matt Kenseth, that was about the last thing he needed to do. Joey Logano was part of when he was really kind of coming into a superstar. Those are kind of races that solidify those guys' Hall of Fame resumes. It's like kind of the last piece of the puzzle, if you will. And now we're kind of in this era where it's almost the era of the underdogs. Michael McDowell, first career win. Austin Cindric, first career win. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., third career win. Second for JTG Doherty Racing in their history. But it's been really cool to see. And again, like you said, it's not fully Denali guys that aren't good at this. Michael McDowell had won top 5 in the 500. Austin Cindric had won the Xfinity race at Daytona before. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. has won tough races at Daytona and Talladega. So, they're underdogs, but they're also not underdogs. The way Stenhouse won this race, a bad super speedway driver that loves him race doesn't get the moves that Stenhouse does. I remember I was talking to my roommate, and twice Stenhouse and Logano were lined up. And I said, if they get lined up and they get going, they're either going to run 1-2 and coast to the win, or they're going to end up in a ball of flames. There's really no middle ground with that, just because of how aggressive they are and how unapologetic they are about just making every move in the book. And Stenhouse was, quite honestly, that was a massive cross getting around college possibility. You can say what you want about Stenhouse in the past, but that was a fantastic job of winning that race.
Was there anybody who ran up front today that surprised you? Because I know I have a few.
Ran up front, I mean, the guy that comes is Kyle Larson. I mean, I thought he was, when we got the white flag, McConnell and Larson were gaining on Stenhouse, but he got too far in front. I thought Larson was going to win that race. And it shocked me. Mom out text me and said, why do we never think about Kyle Larson leading races? I'm like, look at his track record. The only thing you remember he did here was lose a tire in the Great Xfinity Series race. He does not have a good track record on super speedways, but he proved them wrong today. I thought he had a good run. Corey LaJoie was running top 5, top 10 pretty much the entire day. You never really heard about him, but he just steady up front. I didn't expect RFK to have as good of a day as they did, just compared to last year. I mean, last year they were the team beat, and today they were the same way. I think Keselowski and Busch were arguably the two best cars today. I thought Buescher, went out front, was as dominant as anybody. They got behind a little bit on the green flag pit stop, and then there was a caution right after that. But when they were out front, nobody was able to catch up until the very end. So, but for the most part, it's kind of the usual suspects up front.
All right, after some technical difficulties, we are back. My face is not frozen now. I was just thinking, I forgot to mention this, and good thing my face isn't frozen. This is one of the cool things that Daytona International Speedway gave to us, is a NASCAR Xfinity Series mug. Has Xfinity 10G on it. I don't know if you can hear the airplane going in the background, but man, it's a pretty busy time. You got some haulers coming out of here, man. They're ready to go back to Charlotte, get ready for Fontana. But I can't say enough how much this weekend was fun. Thanks again for Speedway Digest, Stephen Wilson, for letting me come out here and stay with him and whatnot. It's been fun. I think one of the most fun things that's happened this weekend, and I don't mean to brag, Harry. So if I'm bragging too much, just tell me to shut up. But one of the cool things is that Jeff Gluck was also in the press box, I believe on Thursday or Friday, and I'm not 25 yet, so I can't rent a car. So I've been Ubering back and forth from my Airbnb to the track. So going to the infield is a pain in the butt because you have to walk all the way around. You have to take a shuttle. It takes about 20 minutes to get from the press box to the media center, and that's with a tram. That's not walking. Walking takes forever. So, but luckily, I think Jeff was realizing that, and like one of the first days, he's like, "Hey, are you going to be going up to the press box?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh, just hop in with me. I'll give you a ride." So I've been riding with him, Davey Siegel, Alan Cavana's been in there too, man. Jonathan Field, who's kind of like us, just looking for something full time. He's been there. Met a lot of cool people. This has just been a fun. Some of our past guests, Dustin Albino, Jerry Jordan, I got to catch up with them, man. A lot of our future guests that we're gonna have on, that's exciting. But it's been such a great weekend. But talking more about the race, but kind of alluding back we were talking to, I love the fact that it wasn't just checkers or wreckers until the very end there. But that's reasonable. I mean, it wasn't that bad to me, but I like the actual racing throughout the race, the multiple lead changes. I believe this is one of the best super speedway packages that we've had in a while. I really do. What are your thoughts on that? Do you agree, disagree?
Yeah, I agree. And for the most part, I think it drives very similarly to the last one. It's like the close breaks are minus the orbits, which I think is a good one. I think it makes it and all the squeezing passes that too, with those breaks when I think the orbits were locked, I think that was a big part of it. And I think the driver was so strong with that. They did try to block the squeeze part one, not try them, and I think they kind of neutralized a little bit today. And I think part of that's the drivers were just well behaved today. We saw last year at Talladega. Last year, both races were very calm. I remember the fall race at about like a 60-lap run at the end of the race. I thought it was some of the best racing I've ever seen. It was the same thing. It's not like they just had the foot off the gas. It was super competitive, but everyone took care of each other. And I think that's the big thing. You know, we talked a lot in the past couple years about how maybe there's a lack of respect in the series, but I saw a lot of respect. I saw a lot of giving the team, and I saw a lot of guys working with each other that you wouldn't regularly see work with each other. I mean, Logano and Byron, we remember their issue from last year. They were traveling buddies at certain times, trying to get up to the lead. Like that. I thought it was fantastic, and I think it's a great sign of what's to come from the package, especially now that we have 6 super speedway type races on the schedule.
I remember what we were just talking about last whenever my face was frozen. We were talking about guys that surprised us. One guy that surprised me, and it might have just been because it was just a couple laps ago, but Travis Pastrana in the number 67 2311 Toyota, he finished 11th and he got wrecked. And he was making a move on that, and he finished the whole race. It's not like he crashed out early or anything. He was up there contending for a win, and he obviously, I believe it was Byron that got into him in turns 1 or 2 and sent him. Me and Gluck, we were chasing him down at the because he was going to the garage because his car got torn up. I mean, it was not good. He thought he got loose. It was such light of a contact that he just thought he got loose, and did it himself. So he didn't even know that Byron, or it was just a racing deal. He just thought he did it himself. But it was good to see him. And one disappointment was, I want to say Connor Daly. I don't know why. I figured, making the show on Thursday night, I figured he would have a little bit better luck with the 500. But that car, man, it just seemed slow. And I talked to him after the race about it. He just said, man, like we just weren't ready to compete, and he was just logging laps out there. But he did enjoy the 500. He said he would love to come back in a more competitive car, and I don't know if he's meaning that the money team's not competitive, or he's just saying that they just need to get better. I'm sure that's what he's saying. Not trying to cause any conspiracies here, but but no, he said he would love to come back and he would love to contend. And talking about, when we were talking about Pastrana there, I asked him, I was like, where does this rank with all the events you've done? Because this man's just done about everything with wheels on it. And asked him if he would ever think about coming back. And he made sure that this was just a one and done deal. He just wanted them things off his bucket list. He got crossed off and he's happy with it. Man finished top 15 in his first ever NASCAR Cup Series start at the Daytona 500. So I'd be pretty happy with that too. But man, it was just a fun weekend. And talking about some of the other series, Friday night sucked with the rain and whatnot. It was funny because we were here all day and looking at our phones, looking at the radar, showed no signs of rain. It was beautiful outside, perfect. And then all of a sudden, we just start getting this mist. It was kind of, I want to say, it was almost like the Texas 2020 fall race type of mist, where it wasn't really raining, but it was here, and it would not leave us. And there was a couple times where I stepped outside while they were logging laps under the green flag, and it was a heavy mist, and I'm like, I'm surprised they're still out there. But did you watch that race at all Friday night, or what were your thoughts on that? And did NASCAR make the right call?
I had a couple things going on, so I had it on kind of in the background. I wasn't too in tune with it. I saw the rain delays kind of starting out, and I was like, I can't sit around. I didn't know what was going to happen with the delays, because I was the same as you. Like when it's borderline, like when it's on a coast like or Daytona, I always have the weather app on my phone.
Mm-hmm.
To see what's going on. If we're going to get a green too, especially with the 500, I'm sick of rain with the 500.
Yes.
But for the most part, it kind of sounded like the same guys were up front. Christian Eckes always seems to run well at these kinds of races. It doesn't matter that he's with McNally now; he's still going to be up front. Most of the four sport guys were doing pretty well. I know Haley Deagle was pretty well before she had her issues. But Zane Smith, who honestly I expected a little bit more from today in the 500, I thought he was going to be a guy, because we've committed front row ways. I thought he would have a little bit of a stronger showing, but he's far and away, I think, the guy to beat in the series, and he's good everywhere. He's on good last year, and we were there at Kansas when he won Daytona last year, and again this year. He's going to get it going.
Yeah, no, I definitely wasn't either. Another guy that I was not surprised, especially looking at practice and qualifying, was Austin Hill in the Xfinity Series. Man, that was a race. He had such a fast car, and he even started at the very tail end of the field because of a radio issue. He said that it was a deal where he couldn't hear his spotters and his crew whenever he was on the backstretch, only on the front stretch, because one of his antennas that reaches all around the track was not working. So that's why they ultimately pitted on one of the parade laps. But man, did he have a strong car. Almost forgot Sam Mayer flipped. That's how much has happened this weekend. Yes, I mean, I'm glad he's okay. That was kind of a nasty hit. But yeah, just talking about the Xfinity race, it was good. I hate it whenever it goes single file. That's just my opinion. I would love to see double file racing or three wide racing all the time. So, but it also leads to this, when are they going to make their move type of moment. It's like, okay, you hear the Jaws music in the background. When's this time bomb going to tick off? And it ultimately did. Mayer ended up upside down, and glad he's okay. But man, Austin Hill, RCR, not only in the Xfinity but Cup, excuse me. They look strong this year. Austin Hill was saying that he was proud of his guys. He knew he had a fast car all day. And one of the questions I asked him was because he's won back-to-back now. Both were under the yellow flag conditions because of wrecks. And I asked him, would you like to get a win here under the green flag conditions where I don't want to say actually want it, but would that make it more sweeter? And he's like, honestly, it's a win at Daytona. A wins at Daytona is a wins at Daytona. So he would love to win here, but I also want to think that he was driving that aggressively. I want to say out of vengeance for not making the 500.
I would agree. I'm 100% with you. And to be honest, that whole weekend, they were talking about him in the duels, even though he missed the show. It felt like that whole weekend was just, when are we going to be done with 120 laps so we can crown Austin Hill the winner? Like, it felt as inevitable as Bobby Gerhardt when he was dominating the ARCA race here. Because he runs fantastically at Talladega. He won the summer race at Atlanta. He dominated the summer race at Daytona. He's so good here. And, he won his first truck race at Daytona, but nothing other than that gave me the impression that he's going to be this good at this kind of racing. But, man, Richard Shelby has always had a fantastic Xfinity program. I'm still high on Shelby Creek. He had a great day on Saturday. But, man, when you see a team as good as JRM running 2 through 5, even with a new guy, Brandon Jones, there's no excuse for him not to get the job done. The Barry Jones incident was fun. I mean, that's a racing deal. He thought he was going to try to block, whatever. It's unfortunate that happened. I feel like that Mayer going for the win. I thought that was a pretty bad luck on Justin Allgaier, to be quite honest with you, because you're coming out of turn 2. Allgaier made a mistake. He doesn't. I don't think he leads. I don't feel like he leads late at these very often. He had no chance of blocking that lane, and Mayer knew what he had to do. He was going to go to the outside, and they were going to race side by side. More than likely going to be a race between those two drivers unless something crazy happened. And Allgaier screwed up and put Mayer on the wall, and then all of a sudden, I don't blame Hill or Mayer for whatsoever, but Mayer's just trying to get back in line last lap what he expected, and then he gets over it. Fortunately, where he was at on the track, it was a hard hit with the wall, but he really didn't slow down or anything like that. There was no excuse for JRM not to win that race. And
No.
The fact that looking at that picture, barely held on to third. He was about 2 centimeters away from finishing fifth in that race. Not a good look, but I thought for both of those races too with the cautions, I didn't like the Underdog yellow, but they had no choice but to throw the caution, especially when there's a blip and when there's that many cars getting hit on the last lap. I want to see green flag finishes, but I can look at them and again their wins at Daytona. I think it would be impressive to see Hill get the job done, actually hold them all up on the line, but a win's the win at Daytona. There's no doubt that he's the best driver in the game.
And just a fun fact, as you mentioned it there, the ARCA series is the only series that raced this weekend that finished under the green flag. I mean, unless you count the Cup Series and the duels, which I really don't because that's not technically points racing. But yeah, what did you see the incident with? It was Jeffrey Earnhardt and Parker Kligerman, the turn 2 incident. If you saw it, I want to get your thoughts on that because I'm sure I agree with you.
I actually did see it. I saw Earnhardt was pissed at Kligerman. It seemed like a civilized conversation, but I wasn't tuned in on the race. I didn't see what happened there.
Yeah, apparently, I guess Kligerman just straight, I don't know, in Earnhardt's words, just straight door slammed him in turn 2 and put him in the wall. But Jeffrey after the race just called him and said he can't drive, worth of crap. And obviously that's not true. I mean, the man's won in the top National 3 Series. I just think it was a racing incident. I'm sure he meant nothing to it and just got out of hand. But yeah, they did have a civilized conversation. I believe some people at the I can't think of their names right now. But some people at the front stretch that are here right now, they got some good footage of that. So if you want to go check that out, go look them up. Man, just overall, it was a great weekend. I don't know if that's just because it's been a long winter and we've been wanting to be at a racetrack or what it is. But to me, this has been a fun weekend. And not much I can say about it. It's just been awesome. But one last thing I wanted to talk about was the ARCA race. That's what I was going to. Greg Van Alst gets the win. I know it's not the Show Me ARCA podcast, but man, seeing his emotion winning that race, because the man started racing back in 2002 in the ARCA series, took a long break, raced some late models, came back just a couple of years ago, and now he's in victory lane at the World Center of Racing. Seeing his emotion, his post-race interview with Fox Sports 1, man, that was cool. And seeing him in the media center, it was just great. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I wish I would have got to see that race. I did get to see the interview. Awesome. I don't know a whole lot about Greg Van Alst personally, but just seeing his emotion, that's exactly what a win at Daytona means. Seeing just how far he's come and everything like that, that was really awesome to see. And he said that's for the short trackers out there. Like, if you don't think you can make it, like, take me as an example, we can make it. That community, it's the coolest thing in the world. And I know Josh Berry's really proud of him about that. He hypes him up, Dale Jr. hypes him up any chance they can, because there are some damn good short track drivers that do not get the time of day. I think anytime one of those guys gets a shining moment on national TV like that, it's just the coolest thing ever. I don't think there's a single person in the garage that sees what they are. God damn it, I hate that guy.
No.
Everyone that's tuned in on that race is like, good for him, man. That's a good dude. He's worked his ass off, like he said, and he absolutely earned it, man. It's always really cool to see this.
The coolest thing he said was in victory lane in the media center as well. He said, like, guys like me are not supposed to win. And that just kind of, because, you know, when you think of race car drivers, you think of pro race car drivers, you think jets and going out and being recognized and whatnot. This guy's he owns a fencing company in Indiana, I believe, is where he's from. The man is just a regular blue collar guy, just like us, just wanting to be here, and to get a win like that means so much to him. And looking forward to see what that does with his team. Hopefully that they'll be in contention for some more wins. But man, that's pretty much all I got. You would think I'd have a little bit more. In 2002 in the ARCA series, took a long break, raced some late models, came back just a couple of years ago, and now he's in victory lane at the World Center of Racing. Seeing his emotion, his post-race interview with Fox Sports 1, man, that was cool. And seeing him in the media center, it was just great. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I wish I would have got to see that race. I did get to see the interview. Awesome. I don't know a whole lot about Greg Van Alst personally, but just seeing his emotion, that's exactly what a win at Daytona means. Seeing just how far he's come and everything like that, that was really awesome to see. And he said that's for the short trackers out there. Like, if you don't think you can make it, like, take me as an example, we can make it. That community, it's the coolest thing in the world. And I know Josh Berry's really proud of him about that. He hypes him up, Dale Jr. hypes him up any chance they can, because there are some damn good short track drivers that do not get the time of day. I think anytime one of those guys gets a shining moment on national TV like that, it's just the coolest thing ever. I don't think there's a single person in the garage that sees what they are. God damn it, I hate that guy.
No.
Everyone that's tuned in on that race is like, good for him, man. That's a good dude. He's worked his ass off, like he said, and he absolutely earned it, man. It's always really cool to see this.
The coolest thing he said was in victory lane in the media center as well. He said, like, guys like me are not supposed to win. And that just kind of, because, you know, when you think of race car drivers, you think of pro race car drivers, you think jets and going out and being recognized and whatnot. This guy's he owns a fencing company in Indiana, I believe, is where he's from. The man is just a regular blue collar guy, just like us, just wanting to be here, and to get a win like that means so much to him. And looking forward to see what that does with his team. Hopefully that they'll be in contention for some more wins. But man, that's pretty much all I got. You would think I'd have a little bit more, but it's been fun. Just thank all the people that I've gotten to see for the first time in a long time. Trying to think. My next race will probably be the Kansas Spring Weekend. Unfortunately, I don't think you're going to be able to go, but I'm sure we'll catch up some other time. Hopefully, we get to meet in person again. I'm sure something will happen. Maybe we'll have to. I might have to make a trip down to St. Joe or something like that. I don't know yet, but man, it just give me your final thoughts, man. It's been a fun weekend.
Yeah, awesome to get racing back, man. Glad you had a great time. Every tweet, every all the footage and stuff I saw from you looked really cool. I'm really glad you got to see that experience. I hope I get to join you one day, man. That's my two dreams in life are to be able to cover the 500, to be able to cover the first night race. Those two are the top of the
that's a good one.
But yeah, I'm probably not the greatest looking at Worldwide Technology Raceway weekend. I don't know if you can be there again. But good to get racing back. Everything I saw, man, we're gonna be in for a great year. Next week, California. Do you have any early picks?
Man, I really don't. It'd be interesting to see what Stenhouse does. I don't think he's going to win, obviously, but it's going to be interesting to see what that team does after getting one of their biggest wins of their career. Do you see him running top 10, top 15? And weeks to come with that, speaking of that, because his crew chief was in the media center talking, saying that they got to test at Phoenix earlier this year, and Phoenix has been one of their struggling tracks for the past couple of years. So it will be interesting to see how that team moves on and how they do the rest of the year. But talking about Fontana, man, I don't know. It's a tough one. Give me Kyle Larson. I think the Hendrick cars, they didn't have a bad weekend, but it wasn't one of their most memorable. I feel like one of them is going to be in victory lane. Give me Kyle Larson. I believe he's going to go back to back and win the final race at the 2 Mile Auto Club.
I like it, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, is Mike Kelly the crew chief? I believe he had some success with Stenhouse. He might have been his nationwide crew chief.
Yes.
I think that's a good pairing to begin with. They're obviously off to the best start you can ask for winning the 500. But Stenhouse in the past, he's been a driver that's not afraid to mix it up with a strategy. I remember getting some top fives, I think, at Las Vegas. Late in the race, just staying out. We're not going to win, but if we're running 17th, why not get a chance to run 5th? And he's a guy that's hard to pass. He's going to give you everything he's got every lap. So I don't see why they can't pull some top 10s, top 15s at tracks they used to run, 17th, 20th at. I think there's a lot of room for improvement. But as for Cali race picks, Xfinity, I think the guy you got to look at is Cole Custer. Won it last year.
Yes.
In the Double Zero car in 2019, and for the Cup Series, I think you're going to look at Gibbs versus Hendrick. I think those two have really owned this track lately. And I picked him to win the championship this year. He had a great run. I'm going to take Mr. Christopher Bell to win the race at Sunday.
That's not a bad pick. And you're talking about Xfinity there. That's another thing I'm going to be looking for. Cole Custer has one win in the Cup Series, obviously at Kentucky 2020, but he was successful in Xfinity. I mean, him and Reddick and Christopher Bell. Yes, they were lighting it up. They were one of the original big three. So seeing Custer back in, I want to say his environment, because I feel like he excels in that series. It'll be interesting to see what he can do with that team, and see how he can help his teammate Riley Herbst, because Riley hasn't had that much luck here in the past couple seasons with that team. It'll be interesting to see moving forward. But man.
While you're on it, we should give a call to Riley. He spun out early in the race. I think went a couple laps down. He ended up 10th in there because he managed to get out of trouble, kind of lead his way through, winning some wrecks.
Mm-hmm.
For a guy that's got as much crap as Herbst has, that's not a bad showing at all. I think he's improved a lot in the past year, and I think that combo could be something. I think Riley can win some of those races.
I believe it too, and especially with the great teammate like Custer is, that'll be great to see. But Xfinity, man, at Fontana, I got to go with I don't want to pick the same pick as you, but I got to go Custer because he won there last year. And just to see him in Stuart Haas equipment, I feel like he'll be pretty hard to beat. But, man, thanks again for joining the show. Appreciate it. Look forward to I don't know when the next episode we record. We'll have to figure that out. But, man, it's been a fun weekend. Thanks for sorry. I want you to come next year. I want to have both of us cover this event next year. it'll be fun. Hope you get to come down here sometime. But man, it's been fun. Thanks for joining on, man. And thank you guys for listening to this episode of the Show Me NASCAR podcast from Daytona, Florida. I know it's not really Show Me, but hey, we got to do what you got to do. Thank you guys very much for listening to this episode. We will catch you next week. Thank you, guys.